Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of Ferrum. This week in Ferrum Baseball, I'm your host, Gary Holden, Sports Information Director and Assistant AD. With me, as usual, Head Baseball Coach Ryan Brittle.
Hey, Gary.
Ryan, you guys had a great week last week. Picked up 3 wins out of 4 games. The biggest one, I guess, was the Frostburg State game. Number 11 ranked team in the country comes in here. Had been to the World Series the year before, and you guys put a pretty good beat down on them.
We did. It's the biggest one as far as the national recognition goes, but certainly the Maryville series is much more important to win as far as our conference goes. But to have Frostburg and I thank Guy Robertson for coming down here. He's the head coach at Frostburg State, for coming down and being willing to play us here at home, and to have a quality opponent like that coming into Ferrum is a great thing for our program and a great thing for our players. And to be able to come out on the right side of that it puts a cherry on top of it.
I'd say you were on the very right side of that one, Ryan. No doubt about it. You guys got up to at some point in time it was like 7-3, and I'm thinking, all right, we're going to beat this team. And then all of a sudden it was 11-3, and at one point you got it up to 17-3, and then they scored those last couple runs in the ninth inning, top of the ninth inning, and everything. So
it was a close ball game for at least the first half of it. They had opportunity. I can remember they had opportunity with bases loaded in the 4th or 5th inning, and their best guy was at the plate. And Matt Wilder started for us and pitched 5 innings and did a really good job. And he ended up striking him out. We had 2 outs, bases loaded, and KJ Hockaday was at the plate, who's a tremendous athlete and a tremendous baseball player.
Best hitter for their team.
Best hitter on their team, was hitting 460 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Matt was able to get him out, and after that we kind of tacked on a few runs and separated ourselves from him. So it was a good team win.
Yep. Yeah, it was good effort and everything by the whole team, and it was a fun game for the fans as well, because I think a lot of the fans knew, hey, we got a nationally ranked team in here. We don't see that very often, with the exception of a lot of the USA South teams when they come in. 1 or 2 of them are ranked during the year and everything. So. But, all right, so let's go and talk a little bit about Maryville. Maryville comes rolling into town, and they were right there at the top of the standings with you as well. You guys win the first game pretty close. They win the second game pretty close, and then you guys come out and have to win the third game in extra innings and everything. I'm sure things were pretty tight in that dugout.
Heart attack guys, man. The first game, Jake Perkins pitched really well. 7 innings.
9 strikeouts.
He had 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 9 Ks. He pitched really well, and we were able to separate ourselves at the end of that ball game and cruise it on in at the end. Game 2, they came out and put a few runs up early in the game, put some pressure on our offense. I think we were down 4-2. We ended up coming back and tying the ball game in the 8th inning. Lane Deaver hit a line drive into the right center field gap for a triple, and the ball got past the third baseman. We scored on an error to tie it up, and had Hunter Peck in there and late in the game. Hunter, wow, he's had a really good year, and he pitched 3 1/3 innings and struck out 9. In 3 1/3 innings, 9 of his 10 outs were strikeouts, and
including 8 of his first 9 guys that he pitched against. He struck them out
and pitched really well. We gave up a couple runs in the 9th inning, weren't able to recover from it, so we dropped that game 6-4. And then the last game of the series, we went down 1-0. I think in the 3rd inning, Cliff Alexander pitched great as usual. He throws tons of strikes, and he's really hard to hit. Most of the hits that people get off Cliff are infield singles or ground balls through the infield, and it's really tough to hit in the gaps. But we're able to score 6 runs. I think we scored 6 in the 5th or 6th inning, bottom of the 5th or 6th, and put us up 6-1. And really we're cruising through the remainder of the game. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, we were hitting, and we had guys on base. That might have been when we opened it up a little bit. But we had guys on base, and it was kind of a longer inning, and the rain started to come.
Yep.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself in the dugout that this rain and the way that things are going, because they made a couple pitching changes that inning, that this rain is going to affect us because we have to play defense in the top of the 9th with wet grass, wet baseballs, a little bit muddy infield, and we got to get 3 outs. And after we got out of the 8th, it stopped raining, and the first guy up for them got a single. The second guy up, which was Carpenter, who was the player of the week last week, hit a fly ball to left field. Mm-hmm. And Winkles is a center fielder, can play center field for most teams. He's a really good outfielder and has played center field for us. And he goes back, and the wind starts blowing a little bit, and I'm confident he's going to catch the ball. And he gets his feet on the wet grass and slips and falls down for a double, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
And didn't we have that happen to the right fielder as well?
So then they scored 4 runs. It made it 6-5 with 2 outs, and a guy hits a single into the right center field gap to actually score the 5th run. And Lane Deaver goes over, and he's getting ready to catch the ball. He plants his right foot to stop. Foot goes out from underneath him. The ball rolls by. The guy moves up to second base instead of holding at first.
Right.
Next guy gets a hit and scores him, and the next guy gets out. So if we'd have held him to first base, we would have. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have scored that inning.
So one of 2 things would have helped you more: no rain, so we could have played on dry grass, or just a barrage and the game gets called because
Correct.
we'd already had enough innings and everything. That wasn't meant to be. You were going to go extra innings.
So we went extra innings, and I give credit to our guys. I give credit to their guys too, because they never gave up, which we didn't think they were ever going to give up,
Sure.
which is the way a conference series should be played. But we got kicked in the gut in the second game of the series because we had the game tied in the 8th, and we were unfortunate in the 9th and ended up losing the game, costing ourselves a game. And we got kicked in the gut. And to come back the next day and
Sure.
to be up 6-1 in the 8th and going into the 9th inning with 3 outs to get, and the game getting tied, we could have completely folded right there, and we didn't. So we hung on. Lorenzo Allensworth came in the game and got some outs for us in the 10th inning, and Anderson Ramos came up in the bottom of the 10th and ran a missile into the left center field gap for a double. Jake Martin laid down a bunt, ended up getting on an error. Mm-hmm. They walked Joe Stickney, and then we had the first walk-off strikeout that I've ever seen in my career.
Yeah.
Jordan Carmody's battling at the plate to a 2-balls, 2-strike count, and swings at a ball in the dirt, gets away from the catcher, and Ramos goes in and scores for the game-winning run. So it was a well-fought series. Our guys battled. We didn't play good baseball on the weekend, great baseball on the weekend. We played pretty good, but we certainly competed very well. And that's what I've said all year about these guys is they don't play perfect baseball, but they compete perfectly.
Right.
And
that's
hard. Then they play hard, and that's all you can ask out of your guys.
Well, it was. We were watching at the end of that second game. We saw the Maryville team went over to right field. They had the big huddle and everything, and we're all just saying, they're probably saying right now, hey, we pulled one out here and everything. Now let's steal one tomorrow and get out of here with 2 games under our belt. And sadly enough, it was almost happened right there. But it was exciting that you guys could pull that out, get the 2 wins out of 3. You guys are sitting right now. It puts you in the top of the league by about a game over NC Wesleyan and everything. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. Let's move on and talk a little bit about the Piedmont series. You're heading down south to Demarest, Georgia this weekend. You got a 3-game series with them. Piedmont had previously been nationally ranked, but dropped a couple recently, dropped 4 games, including getting swept at home by Huntington. Talk a little bit about that series going down there.
Piedmont is Piedmont's coaching staff. I saw on Twitter that they just coached their 500th game together as a staff.
Wow.
Coach Peoples, Coach Dombrowski, and Coach Scally. And
okay.
That is quite an accomplishment to have your staff together that long. It's a tribute to Coach Peoples, who's retiring after this year.
Really?
Yes. He's the AD as well at Piedmont, so he's going to be AD full-time and retire from baseball. And it's a tribute to him as a person, as a leader, and then the way that they built their program. It's been a solid program for a long time.
Sure.
They have a bunch of older guys in their lineup that have been, their first 4 hitters, 5 hitters in their lineup have been in their spots for 3 or 4 years together now.
Wow.
So they've got some guys that can swing the bats. They struggle at times on the mound, but they've got 3 guys in their bullpen that are legit guys that can pitch for anybody. And And if you get behind early on in the game, those 3 dudes are coming out of that bullpen, and they're going to shut you down for a while. So it's going to be a great series. It's going to be well fought, and we look forward to going down there and see where we come out. We're going to be in a hostile environment. They got a beautiful facility, and it'll be fun.
Sure. Is the weather supposed to be okay down there?
Weather, they're supposed to get some rain tonight. So I'm sure they'll have their tarp on their field tonight. It's supposed to be 73 and sunny tomorrow, 73 and sunny on Saturday, and then they're supposed to get more rain again on Sunday. So we'll get 3 games in down there somehow.
And the schedule is right now you're playing 2 games tomorrow. You've got the whole weekend to get the 3 games in. Right now we're scheduled for 2 games tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock, is it? And then 1 game Saturday starting at 2?
It's going to start at 2.
2 o'clock, okay. Okay, good. Well, good luck down there. I hope it all works out well.
Appreciate it.
Let's talk real quickly about something. There's been one issue. I noticed a number of fans have asked me this question, and I wanted to ask you. And I have the answer, but I want you to tell our fans. The USA South has scheduled games that are teams are playing each other that don't count as conference games. Like, for example, a lot of the questions we've been having is people have been asking, why do you play NC Wesleyan after your conference tournament? How do those results figure in? I'm going to let you tell us all about that.
Sure, and I got the same question from one of the guys that I played when I was here, Chuck Jarrett. He was Facebooking me and said, how come you guys are playing North Carolina Wesleyan after the tournament? Well, the way the conference is set up, we all have 6 conference series. There's 11 teams in the conference. So there's teams out there in our conference that we don't play at all unless we match up against them in the conference tournament. So there's Greensboro and Covenant have already played a series that's a non-conference series that they've played against each other. Methodist plays Covenant after the conference tournament. We play North Carolina Wesleyan. And basically they weren't on our conference schedule. And I wasn't going to be the guy that ended the North Carolina Wesleyan and Ferrum rivalry that's been there for so many years. So Coach Long and I got together and decided to play a doubleheader on Saturday. I think it's the 22nd or 23rd. And
the weekend after the conference.
But it will not count. It will not count as a conference game. It'll just be games played.
Okay.
And so the regular season, the 6 series that we played before the conference tournament will decide the regular season champion.
Gotcha.
And the tournament will decide the tournament champion. And the winner of the tournament gets the automatic bid to the regionals.
Okay. Good clarification here, because I've had a lot of questions about that, and now I know how to answer that question and everything.
Absolutely.
So, well, Ryan, I appreciate you spending some time with us and everything. Good luck down in Georgia this weekend.
Thank you.
And we'll talk with you next week and get a wrap on how things went this weekend.
Hope you have a great Easter weekend, Gary, and I hope all of you have a great Easter weekend as well.
Folks, thanks so much for being with us. That's a wrap. We'll be back next week to talk with head coach Ryan Brittle and our next episode of This Week in Ferrum Baseball. Thanks so much for being with us. Have a great weekend and a wonderful Easter.